Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Joe Rodriguez coming to you from Bristol, Connecticut, and welcome to the coronavirus edition of the ETO Podcast. I shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be clapping for the coronavirus because the coronavirus just messed everything up for all of us. That means that there is no football, there's no soccer games, and I'm just devastated, man. It's gotten so bad that not even Super Mojado could be here. You know, the coronavirus didn't get him, but, you know, he's cautious, and I understand everybody's going to be cautious today because this is something unprecedented. This is something that has not happened, I think, in the history, at least in my generation, in my lifetime, and it's just insane because a lot of people out there are freaking out, and it's understandable, it's normal, but also at the same time, it's something really disruptive. That's just my opinion. That's kind of like the way that I see things. Disruptive in the sense that leagues are getting canceled. The stock market is going berserk, you know. So for those of you guys keeping track of that, the Dow Jones dropped about almost 10,000 points in a matter of 2 weeks. NBA season got canceled yesterday. MLS followed today. They're not going to be playing for 30 days. Spring training for MLB also postponed. So it's just insane. The only league that actually kind of is safe at the moment is Liga MX, which, good thing because we cover Liga MX, right? But anyway, lots to talk about regarding the coronavirus, but also just in general. And what I want to do now is actually I want to bring in Jay Martinez. What's up, Jay?
Ooh. What's up, Joe? How's it going?
It's going, brother, dude. There you are. Look at you.
Good, man.
On camera,
yeah,
brother.
Yeah, finally, I had to add some extra lightning because I'm in my garage and I guess my man cave and just going back. But first of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity and finally you allow me to be in the chat. I mean on the podcast. I know I've been bugging you about it for a couple of weeks now, but just to give you a hard time about it. But it's kind of just crazy overall. Just in the last 24 hours, how everything has just been. A domino effect, like you said, like it's just one sport after the other, and then it's the crazy thing is not just here. We just heard news that in South America, the World Cup qualifications just turned down the Libertadores,
Yep.
And we just heard recently that Arsenal, their coach, he just came positive with the coronavirus, and I'm just looking through Twitter because they say that Twitter is like the newspaper now, and I'm just staying in touch with everything. And I'm a teacher, obviously, here in Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
And so everybody's just texting and asking me, hey, what's going on? What's going to happen? Parents, look, I don't know. I haven't heard anything because just recently, a couple of hours ago, Houston ISD said that they're postponing school until March 30th. So I think it's just, I do agree with you that I think everybody is just freaking out. I think since it's something that we haven't seen, and even going back, like the Dallas Cup here, that's been a prestigious cup for the development of young kids or young teens in academies. In 40 years, nothing like this has happened. So, I mean, your generation, I'm about to be 30 in a couple of months. I've never witnessed this. It's just kind of scary. Like, what am I going to do this weekend if the Liga MX also shuts down?
Yeah. No, it's crazy. You're absolutely right. I think scared is an understatement because people are doing all kinds of crazy things. Obviously, you see what's going on with the toilet paper, right? Disappearing in Walmart and Costco and so forth. And it's just insane, man. It's insane because, again, call it precautionary, call it fear, call it whatever you want, but people are just starting to do crazy things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been saying it's no zombie apocalypse by any stretch of the imagination, right? But it doesn't mean that we can't get to that proximity. That's just a reality. And the thing is that it doesn't matter where you're at in the country now. I think everybody's kind of fearful of what could potentially happen. Right here in Connecticut, we really haven't had anything crazy or too many cases. But the thing is that we're sandwiched by New York City and also Boston. And obviously, those are two hot grounds where a lot of stuff has happened. So anyhow, it's just insane, man. And it's something that unfortunately it's out of our control. But here's the thing. Here's what concerns me the most. One of the things that a lot of people do, and this is something that has happened historically, but one of the things that people do when there's a lot of fear, when there's depression, when there's any kind of downswing of the economy, one of the biggest and most important things that people have for themselves is to entertain themselves, right? And obviously, sports is a big way that people do that. So what's going to happen now when you take all these sports away, when you take a lot of the things that keep people distracted from the realities of the cruel world? That's where we're going to have a big problem, and I just don't know how long it's going to go. MLS did say today, again, 30 days, but, we don't know if in 30 days things are going to be fixed. This was actually brought to my attention today, and it's something that a lot of people should definitely think about and consider. So what we're dealing with, first of all, it's not a blizzard or a hurricane or things of that magnitude, right? It's not something that's just going to pass like, a couple of days, people were out of their houses and that's it. It's something that we just don't know how deep this the magnitude of this particular situation is. So for all we know, it's something that could last another 3, 4, 5 months. We really don't know. That's just a reality. So I think the reason for concern is real. But at the same time, man, just use common sense. Wash your freaking hands. You know what I mean? Like, don't do stupid things. Don't cough at people. Don't be around people who look sick. So anyhow, so Jay, I wanted to ask you, dude. So for you, you're a big fan, obviously, of just sports in general. But, what do you think is going to happen to these leagues? Like, what kind of an impact? Like, what's the overall impact that you think we're going to get because of the stoppage of work?
That's a very good question. And I guess to be truthful with you, I mean, who really has the definite answer with that? I mean, we can make so many hypothetical thoughts, or we can just start wandering around and asking so many questions. But to be honest with you, like you just said, we don't know if it's going to stop next month, in 3 months, or maybe 5 months. We have no idea. But I do think this is going to just mess everything up, because even talking to you today, the Olympic qualifiers in Guadalajara, that's obviously going to get postponed. The FIFA dates, that's going to get postponed. That's going to and then you were just talking about the Euro Cup is going to get postponed. How's this all going to get managed? Like all the leagues, all the UEFA Champions League. I mean, we just saw recently that Manchester City and Real Madrid also. So honestly, I believe this is just going to jeopardize everything. Maybe my personal opinion is that I think they're probably just going to compact everything as quickly as possible. As soon as this is over, all right, let's just jump into the UEFA Champions League real quick. Let's just start doing our two games a week. Let's start doing 3 games a week, because we really got to catch up. And hopefully, I mean, God, it doesn't get worse. But if this jeopardizes the Olympic qualifying, I mean, the World Cup qualifying, I mean, this is just going to just stagger everything. It's just, I believe, my personal opinion on this is, I think that it's just going to put everything more in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. And I think it's gonna compact everything. It's just, hey, let's just come doing this quickly. What's more important? Like, are we gonna have to do the Copa MX right now? Are we gonna have to wait for it later? Yeah. I know jokes are saying that if the clausura ends right now, Cruz Azul is a champion. So I mean, there's so many things, so many options that could happen right now. And even going back to even my personal life, like, I don't know what's gonna happen, because I believe, I don't know if I told you, but last summer I went to Spain for a month to start my master's, and I'm supposed to go again this July and June. Uh-huh. And now, by hearing what everything just happened in Madrid, and then our professor there told us, hey, we didn't know what might happen. So people are like, so what's going to happen? Are we going to return and not return? And mind you, and where I go is one of the top schools of the university. We have a lot of groups that come from different countries. So people are like, I don't think this is going to happen. I think this is just going to postpone everything. So that might also, like we're just saying, either compact the leagues, or is it just going to postpone and really look at the big picture? All right, are we going to have to do the Copa MX, or are we going to have to worry about the clausura? Are we really going to have to do these, I guess what people say is Molero games? Or are we just going to have to jump right into the qualifying games for the World Cup? So I think that's what's going to happen. But again, like I told you, Joe, and a lot of people just don't know what's going to happen next. And I think that's the scary part, that you don't have an answer to what might happen next. That's the scary part.
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The uncertainty is what typically scares people. Uncertainty is typically, one of the things that creates the biggest fear factor. But here's the thing. You mentioned that again, we don't know, but as you were talking, I was thinking about what you were saying about the potential of leagues getting restarted, and then kind of like cranking things up, right, and then continuing to do the leagues. But I actually feel that there's a big, strong possibility that not in the MLS because the season's obviously still very young, but there's a good chance that a lot of these other leagues could potentially just stop completely for as long as it needs to. I don't understand why the Premier League did not or has not canceled their games. I mean, I'm assuming that they have everything under control, or at least they think they do. But, like Champions League and, all these other leagues that are just kind of like stopping. Like the NBA, again, the NBA, they're a league that makes hundreds of, millions of dollars, or billions of dollars, I should say. Not hundreds of billions, but billions of dollars a year. And they're fine. They're not going to run out of money, right? But they're still losing money. Yeah. So they can still, carry that on for a little while, or they could halt the work for a while. At least, my understanding is that the season's over with, so there's not going to be any NBA finals. There's not going to be like a lot of these other tournaments are not going to have any more events. And if the Olympic qualifiers are postponed or canceled, what does that mean for the Olympics? The Olympics have not been postponed or canceled. People from Japan have been saying that they're going as is. It's a huge, daunting task for any country to put the Olympics together. So I find it really, really difficult that they want to do that. They definitely don't, but it's like you can't have Olympics if there's no participants, right?
Yeah, and you know what? We just started talking about in that beginning of that conversation. The English Premier League, I was shocked. I was completely shocked yesterday how Atletico Madrid versus Liverpool still went on with fans, but in other games there were no fans at the stadium, like Paris Saint-Germain against I forgot what the team they played. And then what just happened recently? The Arsenal coach just caught the coronavirus. And all those fans that traveled from Madrid to go over to Liverpool, imagine how many of those were already maybe didn't know that they have it, and they just passed it on to the fans in Liverpool. My personal opinion, and I understand what you're saying, and I get what you're saying, that don't be stupid, be cautious. How can I say this? It's just something that can't be uncontrolled. We don't even know if it's airborne too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think to be more cautious is just completely stop everything. The Liga MX, all the jokes that you see, all the memes that you see, that, obviously it won't get there because of VIX, and 7-Up and drinking caldo de pollo. But before you know it, like even two players from Chivas, the Trophies, and I forgot who else came down with the flu. Like people are like, hey, what's going on?
Right.
So my best option, if I was handling Liga MX, that I'm shocked they haven't done it, is just stop it for a couple of weeks. Hey, you know what? Let's just get everything controlled. We're obviously across the border from United States, and everything is just sprouting quickly. Let's just wait for a couple of, it's not bad to postpone, but then again, if we look at the business side, it's going to affect a lot, because even in boxing, we just saw, obviously I've told you that I follow boxing. I do a lot of boxing media. Mm-hmm. A lot of events are getting postponed for that too. And boxers are like, well, that can impact them because the boxers make the money from the fans that come in and how many tickets they sell. Yeah. So it's just, I think the most part that every league is starting to get affected is the business side. And that is not no secret. And going back to the NBA, there was a chart that I saw about the Utah Jazz in the past 15 days.
Yeah.
The teams that they have played, they literally have played almost every single team in the NBA.
Wow.
It was a chart, the Utah Jazz right here, and it was just all the teams. It was probably like about 15 teams that they've been around in the past 20, 30 days. So people are like, oh, wow. And their airplane at least took 2 or 3 teams in the past 5 days to their game. So people are like, okay, now this is just getting very out of hand. Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Don't be stupid. Wash your hands.
Yeah.
But it goes back. I don't know if you remember. It happened here in Dallas a couple of years ago when they were saying, "Oh, the gas crisis, that we're gonna run out of gas," and people were just in line freaking out. I was like, dude, hey, just calm down. Let's just see what are the final results. It's just when it's something new, we just don't know how to act. And I'm like, well, just calm down. Let's just see what's the final results. And
right.
I don't know.
I hear you. We have to analyze the problem very deeply. But anyhow, I want to actually give a couple of shout outs really quick to the people tuning in. We got Oscar Go. What's up, Oscar? How you doing, bro? He's saying, y'all too scared. Yeah, a lot of people are definitely scared. Saludos a David Medina. Super's on this chat. So if you guys want to ask Super anything, go ahead and ask him. And by the way, he is confirming that he does not have the coronavirus. He has Modelo virus. Moni Delgado, what's up, Mónica? ¿Cómo estás? Saludos a ti. Don Ramon, he'll be joining us in just a second. Nacho, thank you for hooking it up today. Football Ultra, and let's see, ZM Oscar, Angel 310314, among others. Donnie the Great, Tanque, Josue 23. So just a bunch of people that have tuned in at one point or another. Just want to give a big shout out to all of you guys watching. And also I want to ask you guys for your comments. So what do you guys think? I mean, are people overreacting, or is it the smart thing for the stoppage to just completely take place? So leave us your comments and messages right here on Instagram. Hey, so really quick, Jay, I actually want to go back to Liga MX, and we already know that Liga MX is one of the few leagues that's still going on. And also, you know, big matchup this week between Cruz Azul and America, dude. So what are we thinking, assuming that, again, they don't decide to change their minds in the next 24 hours or so, but assuming that match takes place, what can you tell us about the match, and how big of a matchup do you think that that match is between those two?
I think that match is going to determine a lot for the future for both teams. I personally favor a little bit more Cruz Azul because if you've noticed on the standings, just even going through the standings, I know I checked this out a couple of days ago. They have 23 goals in favor, 19 against. They've only lost 2 games. They got 6 wins, and they're like the super offensive team right now. And America is just like, in the third place. They only have 11 goals, 10 against. But then we got to remember that America is very, very weak, obviously, with the off-field situations. We won't touch much about that. There's no need, really. The injuries of all the players that caused, I think yesterday when they were playing Atlanta United, I think they only had 4 starters out of the usually starters that they have. So in my personal opinion, the way that it looks, I feel like Cruz Azul is going to be favored. They're more, besides Caraglio, who's not there. I don't know. I believe he's still not back. There's still a power team in the recent game that they had. They won, I believe, was it 4-1 against Tijuana. I just think they're a better team. They're in a team. They've been building up, but how many times, Joe, have we heard this and have we seen this from them? How many times have we seen Cruz Azul being this team, and then they enter the Liguilla and then there it goes?
That's what it's called, La Cruz Azuleada, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? La Cruz Azuleada. That's where the name comes from. It's actually a true word now.
Yeah, it really is. I wouldn't be surprised if you find it in the dictionary.
Oh, but you can. It really is in the dictionary, dude.
Yeah, so I like how they look. I strongly believe this game could either be a high-scoring game or it can end in a high-scoring draw. That's the way I'm looking at it. Obviously, I'm a Chivas fan, as you can notice. I don't want to see America win, but I got to give them props to them because the way they're managing their team, especially Piojo Herrera, in the past 2 tournaments, in the Apertura 2019 and the Clausura 2018, he's always had his back against the wall with players leaving. Edson Alvarez, you had Diego Lainez who left, and then he has all these players leaving from the past 3 tournaments. And even this tournament, and he still manages to produce his numbers, and he still gets criticism. Like, man, like yesterday they beat Atlanta United, one of the top teams in the MLS in the recent years.
Right.
So it's going to be a game. I believe it's going to be a game full of nothing but sparks. But I personally favor more Cruz Azul. If Chivas doesn't go far this year, my Chivas Galacticas, what we talk about, I wouldn't mind seeing Cruz Azul win it just because my cousin, that is literally a brother for me from, where we're from in Mexico, he's like, man, I don't think I'll be able to see them ever win again because the last time was 97. One of my good friends, he's a Cruz Azul fan. He's like, man, I don't even worry about them anymore. Like, I'm just so devastated. So I just can't wait for that game. But then again, it goes back to what's going to happen because I don't understand, Joe, and I want your thoughts on this real quick. Like, I understand Liga MX's procedure of how to handle this. They're like, well, don't contact the players, don't give them high fives. Like, really? Come on, man. Like, that just doesn't make sense. And then the last recent video that we saw of Almo, López Obrador, he says, well, nomás abrácense así. And I'm like, dude, really? Like this is going to get very out of hand before we know it. And either do it behind closed doors this weekend and then see how it goes on. Because just wait until one or two players catch it, all hell's gonna break loose.
Yeah. No, yeah. And it's just a matter of time, I think. I mean, a lot of them have been over here. There was a couple Tigres obviously played in New York City, what was it, just yesterday. So, there's a possibility, like you said, we don't know like exactly how the virus works 100%. We don't know how it could get transmitted, so I would not be shocked if a player did end up catching it and then it's literally over. Hey Jay, so thank you very much for tuning in, man. I think you're a great addition to the team, and we love your insight, dude. Do you have any final words?
No, man, and I just want to go back again, and I always thank you personally, and I want to say this out in the air, and I appreciate you giving me the time and the opportunity to be part of this team. I'm very excited, and I was very excited for the upcoming game here in Mexico. I mean, here in Dallas, when Mexico was going to face Greece, I was so excited. I was like, man, I can't wait. And I've told you this personally when we chat almost like once or twice a week. And I tell you, I just can't wait to show you, my abilities that I have and just a little bit that I can, provide for the team. And thanks again, Joe. I owe a lot to you, and I can't wait to see how our team starts keep on growing. And I believe from the past year, seeing just following you up to now, it's growing rapidly. And then shout out to everybody who's been tuning in, and I can't wait to get on again. Thanks again.
Yeah, man, you got it, dude. Ahí está. You get an applause. That way Super doesn't get jealous. All right, dude. So we'll catch you later, man. Take care. Ay, lo corté. All right, so there you have it. I mean, that's Jair Martinez. Make sure you can follow him. I posted his JMart1018. There you go, JMart1018. That's where you can follow him. Coming up next, we're going to have Ramon Chavez. He's going to be talking a little bit more about what's going on with the coronavirus. He lives in the Phoenix area. And we're also going to be starting a new segment here on the ETO Podcast where we're going to be showcasing and highlighting, for lack of a better term, other Latino podcasts here in the United States. So we're going to go ahead and take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back, okay? Hey, welcome back to the ETO Podcast. Joe Rodriguez here. Aquí estoy en camarita. Hola. I can do that to myself. So, as I mentioned, the coronavirus just creating chaos in the sports world, particularly in football, and it sucks. It sucks because there was so many games that were coming up soon. We had the World Cup, not the World Cup qualifiers, but the international friendlies that Mexico was going to have in Dallas and in North Carolina. Also the one in Denver. Well, actually, we don't know if that one's postponed, but I imagine it will. The Olympic qualifiers, we've been hearing that they could be postponed as well. MLS season on hold for 30 days and on and on and on. So anyway, it just sucks, dude, because there's a lot of things that are just, I don't even know. I'm lost of words because... again, when things are down and when we're going through depressions and we're going through tough times, the one thing that we always do is we make sure that we steer away from all the real world problems and we try to entertain ourselves. So anyhow, I'm going to bring in Ramon Chavez so we can talk a little bit more about the coronavirus. So Ramon, let me know if you can hear me. What's up, brother?
Sir.
Hey, how you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on.
No worries, dude. A ver, déjate pongo en camarita. Ahí estás. You gotta clap too. All right, brother. So talk to me, dude. Tell me, how's the coronavirus out in your area, out in the Phoenix area, dude? How is everybody dealing with it?
So right now I don't think it's hit yet. I know, I have the pleasure of living with, not living, but, we're in the same city as far as me and Sargento Z. I know he's done some content for ETO, and he posted on our group chat that when he went to get some toilet paper, all the aisles were gone. It was like one of those like quarantine virus movies that we see. And then it's insane. I think it's going to get worse the further we go. Right now, I work at the community colleges here in the Arizona side, and right now they've actually extended spring break for the students there. ASU has completely put out all their students to online content for the rest of the year. So I think we're seeing little by little it escalate here on our side. Right now, I feel like it's going to be worse. I actually just noticed that we're kind of low on toilet paper. I'm going to have to go tomorrow. But yeah, man, it's just escalating. I know our USL team, the Phoenix Rising here in Phoenix, their games are postponed. So right now, everything's just kind of up in the air. Like yesterday, it was like, as far as the news content with the coronavirus, it was from yesterday morning. It was like from whatever, but then little by little news started coming out, and then all of a sudden there was like a 2-hour period where Rudy Gobert got sick, and then they were canceling games, and I know the NCAA conference tournaments were going on, so they were wondering if they're going to continue. So in a matter of like 2 hours, I think it was just insane how things just rapidly escalated. Yeah. And so it's just insane. It's insane right now. And I think the main thing that people need to remember is that sports, as much as we love them, we got to think of ourselves for right now. We got to think of our family, of our loved ones, especially our elders. Make sure that we're washing our hands, all that good stuff, and then that we're ready to go. As far as like being clean and all that stuff.
Absolutely. No, I think everything you said makes a lot of sense, and there's a lot of people out there that aren't just informed. So that's the other thing you should do: get informed, find out exactly what we can do to prevent or to help, just kind of like fight the virus. And like you said, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that may not necessarily be afraid. Like I personally, I'm not afraid of the virus itself. However, I know that there's people around me that are very scared, and because of them, I need to be extra cautious. And then also, like you said, there could be elderly people or just sick people that if they get if they contract the virus, then they could be in serious jeopardy or even die. So, but going back to what you mentioned about yesterday, Max Bretos tweeted out that it was probably like the craziest 30 minutes of sports that he had ever witnessed on Twitter, and I think that's an understatement. Wouldn't you say?
You know what? It's the thing that I'll compare it to, and then this is the thing that kind of put it in perspective, because not long ago I was on the show talking about Kobe Bryant. Now, when Kobe Bryant passed away, there was maybe like 3 hours of misinformation. Everybody didn't know what was going on, all that stuff, and that's what I can compare this moment to, because everybody was like, "Yo, so he's sick. We're canceling the season. Oh, it seems like the college games are going on." So it was completely insane, and I put it along the same realm of how people didn't really know what was going on, and they're getting all their information through Twitter, and again through the power of social media. You don't know whether it's correct, you don't know whether it's incorrect. You can see it on people's stories, like you're consulting with your family, the TV, so much information at once, and then by the time it would kind of started to settle down, you're just left mentally exhausted, because this is real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something that, it's just a flu, whatever. It's stuff that it's affecting people, and I actually do think it's gonna get worse. So we gotta be really careful out there.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that that's the problem with things like this. That there's a lot of misinformation, and Twitter's a great tool, but it's also like one of those tools that can hurt a lot of people, because all it takes is one wrong or misinformed tweet to go viral, and it's over, and then that's how panic begins. That's how a lot of people just start believing a lot of crap that's out there. So we just have to be diligent when it comes to trying to figure out who it is that we trust, who are the sources, right? And that's why, like, I always emphasize how important it is for people to be accurate. It's always better to be correct than to be first.
No, exactly. And that's the thing right now that we got to be conscious of, that we got to get this information correct. I feel like we've all seen enough like virus movies and zombies movies to know that when we're all panicking, that's when stuff goes down.
For
when
sure.
when we're all collected, calm, and we all work together collectively, the wealthy people all the way to the, the little guys over here, if we all work together, we can get through this. But the thing is, we got to stay calm, stay informed, and be ready to go. I do want to touch on the one of the last few hours that, apparently the Premier League was about to go on and play this week.
Right.
And then you have the Arsenal manager that apparently he contracted the virus.
Yeah.
I honestly think Mexico should do the same thing. I know the leagues are going off the information that they're getting from the government.
Yep.
But I feel like sometimes they got to just say, hey, man, we're not going to put our players at risk. We're not going to do this, because then our players, which are the people that make us the money, they should be the first priority if you're the league,
Right.
And so I think that's the step that Mexico should take. I know they don't have that many cases yet. Maybe it's because they haven't tested enough people. I'm not sure. I'm not a government official. I'm not an expert.
Right.
But I believe that people's health come above the money, above the game, everything. And so if we can, I don't know if anybody's listening from the from the Mexican Federation, just put a stop to it. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks just to figure out what's going on, and then we'll resume. Not a big deal.
Yeah, no. I think you're right. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that, just being preventive is gonna obviously help out in the long run. Hey, really quick, Ramon, I want to give a couple of shout outs to more people that are tuning in. My boy Isaiah Rosario, what's up, brother? Hey, I didn't get a chance to see you in Houston, but I just want to say what's up, dude. Eric PAA, what's up, brother? Viva Mexico. And then El Charlie D9U, also what's up to you, brother. So thanks. I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in, and hopefully you guys get to come back. But today we're talking about, unfortunately, not so much sports, but the coronavirus and the impact that it's had on just the world of soccer, and now it's getting closer to home because the MLS league that we cover very often has been postponed for the next 30 days. And also the Concacaf Champions League also suspended. A big match was supposed to take place today between Cruz Azul and LAFC, and who knows when that's going to happen. Now, Ramon, one of the things that I do want to do is I want to open it up to you, because I know that you also participate in El Cafecito podcast, and I see right there you are with your buddy. So I want you guys to talk about El Cafecito podcast, because what we're going to do here at ETO is actually we want to get a lot more podcasts that are run and operated by Latinos and introduce them to people like us, right? People who like your content. So why don't we go ahead and start by you guys telling us what El Cafecito podcast is all about. So Ramon, go ahead, take it away, and then you can introduce your friend.
So, on the side, besides El Trio Online, we do something called El Cafecito Podcast. It's a podcast that we do with some of our best friends, and, we're not experts in a lot of things, but I think we can talk about our life experiences and this really cool stuff that we do here in Phoenix. And that's what it's all about. It's about bringing a platform to Hispanics and what we listen to and what we're interested in, and that's what we bring as far as the Cafecito Podcast is concerned. Over here, we have one of the people that helped me start it, Mr. 915. And, so he can talk a little bit more about why he's in it and why he does it. But, yeah, he's one of the main guys that helped me out.
Well, first of all, I want to know why Mr. 195. So let's start there.
So, hello. So it's Junior, a.k.a. Mr. 915. So my home city is El Paso, Texas. I'm just very proud of my city. I like to represent as much as I can. And, I feel like I have a different flavor or something to bring, from my city, and I'm very proud of it. So I just thought I would bring it in as a persona. We kind of try to get some personalities and, try to create something of ourselves for the podcast. And that's kind of why I chose Mr. 915 to represent.
All right. So I also want to know, so as far as El Cafecito podcast, right? Where did that name come from? I imagine that it means exactly what it is, right? Coffee, but how? What was the origin behind that?
Well, for us, it was just, we figured out that we were just kind of hanging around, and having these conversations anyways as a group of friends. And what it just kind of, where it came from was, if we're hanging around, as a group of friends, our culture kind of already does that. With the Hispanic and the Latino culture, we like to gather, we like to be together and talk about different topics about our days. And one of the common themes when we do have those gatherings is we have el cafecito, whether it's a little snack with a bread, un pan dulce, or
con leche.
Yeah, the leche and all that. So, that's kind of what we took it and ran with it. If we're going to get together, have fun, be friends, be as a family together, why not enjoy some el cafecito, while we were doing that.
Oh, absolutely. That sounds really enticing. And now, why don't you give me an idea of like some of the examples of like some of the topics that you guys address or talk about on maybe more of a regular basis?
Yeah, so more of a regular basis. We definitely try to pick topics that, a general mass of people and, listeners would be able to relate to. Being that we're at El Cafecito, we definitely lean towards, topics that, either younger Hispanics and Latin would be able to relate. So things like relationships we've done, those have been one of our more listened to and successful episodes. Things that have to do with either relationships, struggles, but, just everyday, day-to-day topics. We've done things about, having kids and, our futures. Couple other things that we've done. We try to have fun with it as well. We recently did one where we're just talking about random topics and things that we like and, we get to discover ourselves. I know one of the things that we've always said is through these episodes, we're actually becoming closer as friends because we're finding out things about each other that maybe otherwise we would not have known. So this is really opening up for us, and we're kind of discovering, a little bit under, what we would just know, the surface, a little bit under the surface, and just really trying to bring those topics to light. We try to pick things that are closer to, social awareness, without diving too deep where, we won't be able to be as educated or have the information where we can maybe make a mistake. So, yeah, we just try to keep it as light and fun and, relatable as possible.
Yeah, no, that sounds very, very interesting. Now, and I know that you guys are very familiar with this and the challenges that we have to deal with on a regular basis with podcasts. But I want you guys to give me an example of some of the challenges that you guys have faced and how you guys have worked to actually conquer those challenges.
So a couple things really is just kind of getting our name out there. And for us, I think we really had to sit down and talk about what we wanted to do, what we wanted to kind of get out of it. So we had to really sit down and make some goals. And that was a challenge. At first it was something fun, and it still is fun, but it was something like let's see, if it flops, oh well, we try it. If it doesn't, then we'll see where it goes. We had to really assert ourselves and say, hey, where do we want to take this? So once we started taking that focus and running with it and being more active on social media, try to create more topics that more people will relate to, getting our word out to more than people that just our group of friends outside of the Cafecito crew. We can always tell them and, hey, tell your people. So that's been one of our challenges, just reaching more people than just our regular outside or regular circle, I mean.
Yeah, definitely growing an audience is probably the biggest challenge that all of us who have a podcast of any sort has to face. Really quick, Oscar Romero's saying that listen to Anti 9 to 5 podcast with Jesus Jimenez, El Super Mojados also with his side podcast, Fútbol Amateur podcast, and El Rebaño Sin Fronteras podcast. So there you go, guys. See what you guys are doing. You guys are creating some kind of interest here when it comes to podcast, and I think that again, we're not alone. And the reality is that there's plenty of room for everyone who has a podcast because there's all kinds of different appeals to everyone. Now, let me ask you a question. As far as probably, you mentioned the relationship shows as probably your most memorable one, but could you give me an example of maybe the one that was the most difficult to do, or like maybe it was the most difficult topic?
Yeah, one of our most difficult topics. Man, let me think about this one for a minute. So
maybe Nachito over there has some input on that.
Do you have anything?
I don't know if I can fit on screen over here. I think when it comes to our most difficult ones, I think there has to be the first ones. Recently, we got new equipment. We did around 30, episodes with the mics that you're seeing actually right here.
Yeah.
And now we've transitioned towards like more, industry standard kind of stuff.
All right.
And because of that, I think we've gained a lot of followers. But definitely the first few episodes where we didn't know how to edit, we didn't know how to properly transition and have a normal flow of a conversation within a podcast. So if you listen to our early ones, they're gonna sound like garbage, honestly. But I think it was all an undertaking that all of us in the group decided to say, hey, we're not gonna be that great at the beginning, but we're gonna definitely try. And little by little, we got people along the way that have said, you know what, we like you guys, we like your moxie, we like the way that you're doing things, so let me invest in you. And we've gotten a few people, such as Ariel from one of the bars here in Arizona and Phoenix called Cobra Arcade Bar, who sponsored us and gave us the chance to buy all these new equipment and get a mixer and all this stuff to make sure that our podcast sounded great. And since then, our podcast has really taken off. But I believe the mixture of that and us putting in the daily, weekly, like hard work of getting better at
the grind, right? The grind.
That's right, exactly. And that's what I tell everybody. And I see everybody that, on the chat right now on the Instagram story plugging in their podcast. You guys definitely go to it. Definitely keep grinding. We need more Hispanic, more Latinx people representation in this landscape.
Yeah.
Because we can make a difference. People out there want to listen to us. They want to listen to our point of view, our stories. And so definitely it's going to be a grind. People aren't going to want to listen to you. They're going to say it's bad, it's whack, you're going to get bad ratings. But if you promise yourself that you're going to work hard at it, I promise you it's going to get better and you're going to be happy with the content that you're putting out there.
You're absolutely right, Ramon. There's 60 million Latinos in the United States of America. So that's probably the third or fourth largest, Hispanic country in the world. So there's plenty of room for everybody. I just want to commend you guys for, doing an awesome job and keep on grinding. That's all you can do, man. So why don't you go ahead and tell people where they can follow you guys or how they can find El Cafecito Podcast?
Yeah. So El Cafecito Podcast, we're on Apple Podcasts. Definitely one of our more popular ones as well is, one of the bigger ones is Spotify as well. So just look for El Cafecito Podcast. Anywhere else that we're at?
Stitcher, all these premium apps. I'm not too sure, but definitely the biggest ones is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia.
That's on there, and I was able to find us as well. So we're just trying to get as many touches and as many listens as we can.
Awesome, dude. Well, again, congratulations on your podcast. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with El Cafecito Podcast, make sure that you check them out at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the podcast stores out there. I'm sure they're everywhere. So, again, congratulations, guys, and thank you very much for your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ahí está, chavos. So, there you go. Oh, gosh. I thought it was going to be a little tougher with with no Super Mojado, but hey, I don't think you guys missed him, did you? Anyway, I actually missed you, Super, believe it or not. Again, El Cafecito Podcast, make sure you guys subscribe to their podcast. It's really cool for Latinx and all of you Latinos out there who are interested in listening to a different type of podcast, especially with your cafecito and lechita. You know what I mean? So let's do that. Right away, I want to give some more shout-outs. So saludos al Coronel. Dice, hey, El Coronel says that they have great content. So there you go. He's vouching for them. And what? Wait, hold on. He says, I still haven't gotten a coffee gift card. But I love the show. Hey, come on. I also want to say what's up with Oscar Cruz. ¿Qué onda, Oscar? ¿Cómo estás? Designed by Gio. What's up, Gio? Saludos. I also want to say what's up to MJ Cedillo, Cruz 11. So, saludos a toda la ganga. Pero ¿saben qué? Ya estuvo. I'm done. Super Mojado, everybody missed you. I'm sure they did. And I know that you're going to be back on Monday. But in the meantime, For those of you guys that are afraid of the coronavirus, please make sure you wash your hands. Take care of yourselves. Steer clear. Don't do anything crazy, all right? So again, thank you very much for tuning in. On behalf of Jay, on behalf of Ramon, El Cafecito Podcast, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Stay safe, all right? Till next time, I'll see you later.